But God moved her from being just another one to being the one. Regardless of where you might be, regardless of where you might see yourself right now, just know that God has purpose for your life. And if God has purpose for your life, God is planning to do dynamic things in and through your life. Doesn't matter where you're from. Doesn't matter where you've been. Doesn't matter how many people have tried to say that you would never, ever be anything or amount to anything. I don't care. When God has his hand on your life, when God has his hand on your life, you can rest assured that you have a purpose. But then watch this. Finally, God has prepared you. If you look in the text, God had prepared Esther, and she didn't even know she was being prepared. What is it that God is doing in your life right now that's preparing you for the next place, for the next position, for the next level, for the next thing? She is here. And as she gets the message from Mordecai's people, she starts to pray. She said, I need you to tell all of them to pray. Pray that we can handle, that I can handle this. In essence, she is saying, I'm going to have to go into the king, a place where I'm going to have to go, number one, uninvited. Going uninvited simply would suggest that there is the potential that I might lose my life. But I'm not worried about losing my life, because if I go in, I realize that God will take care of me. She said, if I perish, let me perish. She in essence says, if I die, that's just a part of this. But I know one thing, I would rather die doing the will of God than to live doing my own thing. Yes, sir. So I want to share with you, as you prepare to face your future fearlessly, you don't have to get up worrying about what is to be when you're trusting God. You don't have to worry about how can I make it if you're trusting God. Number one, understand this. Your positioning is providential, which means God has destined you to be where you are right now. Right where you are right now is the place God wants you to be right now, regardless of how you look at it, how you think about it. If God is sovereign, if God is in control, if God is transcendent above all things, and God has complete control, the place that you are positioned right now is exactly where God wants you to be. Because many times in life, we say, oh, I wish I was here, I wish I was there, I wish I was at this place in life. But guess what? If God had wanted you to be, you would have been. And so now learn how to appreciate that place that God has you right now. And understand God has a purpose for your life. That was a purpose for Esther being in that place. Who better could have gotten the king's ear than his girl? Who better could have gotten the king's attention than his girl? All of the other people that God could have easily used, God picked her among the crowd. Because you have to see the divine design of this. If Xerxes, if he's looking at all of these people, all of these ladies, it was God who fixed his mind, his mental faculties to pick her. And by picking her, God says, I have purpose for you. Isn't it odd that God has purpose for you even in painful places? I mean, she was among many, but God had already designed purpose for her life. But not just for Esther, every person in this room. Literally, every one of you that's seated in this room, God has a special purpose for your life. Yes, sir. And the purpose God has for your life is different from anybody else's. So that's why you don't have to be jealous of anybody else. That's why you don't have to try to get at anybody else trying to take what. Because guess what? What God has purpose for you is for you. And guess what? He prepared her. And just like he prepared her for the future, God has prepared you for your future. Everything that you will need to do what God has designed for your life, everything that you will need to be what God wants you to be in life, It's within you. All you have to do is tap into what God has placed within you and be what God wants you to be. I promise you, when you stop listening to everybody else and trying to follow everybody else's plan for your life and everybody else's purpose for your life, you too can walk in the presence of kings and say things that will literally change the course of life when you trust God and God alone. Do you realize the depth of trust that Esther had to exercise when she walked into a place where her life was literally on the line? Yet the fact that she had had a conversation with the Creator before she made a move, that right there gives you the confidence of being able to walk into your place of future with confidence of knowing that if I talk to God and God gives me the confidence, I don't care what anybody else say, that I cannot do. It doesn't matter how they try to discount my directions. When God has given me divine directions, I can literally walk into the place and life can be different. That's why you have to trust God, even when you can't trace him. You've got to lean on God, even when you don't know where it. Just trust him, and that requires faith.
Yeah.